We can all agree that we somehow made our way out of the many struggles caused by the pandemic. But I'm here to talk about the biggest one, the battle everyone faced mentally. I started off as an 8th grade student who just heard his exams got cancelled. As any early teenager would, I tripled the time I spent online. Binge watching became the same as breathing. Pointless online activities were considered to be monumental. I even developed an addiction to social media extremely quickly. Sometime later, I became quite ignorant of my family. All of this contributed to becoming an introvert and having a big ego. Now let's divert for a bit. We've all heard of Pokemon through the game or the series. In the game, when a player is battling an opponent or a wild Pokemon, they're given 4 options: fight, bag, Pokemon, and run. Now I'll be using this specific system throughout the talk. Feel free to search up the rest of the details afterwards. Back to the drawing board. I was then challenged to a Pokemon battle by that ego, disguising itself as a Zubat in a cave. I had 3 Pokemon: a Charmander, a Caterpie, and a Pikachu. Fight, bag, Pokemon, or run. The first option I chose was run, as I was still too feeble to deal with something of such magnitude. I mean, my Pokemon levels had not even hit the double digits. Anyway, my binge watching habits had changed not in the least bit for either anime or YouTube. Even the rest of the time was covered by social media and nothing else. Even when I was running from this ego, its presence still affected me. My familial ignorance had progressed to the point where I did the exact opposite of what my family told me. They told me to read, I watched. They told me to do some physical activity, I sat at home eating unhealthily. They told me to develop social skills, I picked fights online with my entire class, as ridiculous as that sounds. They even told me to enjoy learning, but I still only did it for the sake of it. Everything was going downhill, or it seemed like it. The second option I chose, though, was fight. The first Pokemon I brought out was Charmander. I took an opportunity to do as many social service projects as possible within 1 year. But peer and self-imposed pressure had got me thinking that this is forceful, just a year of suffering and an opportunity to quit, that is. So I needed guidance. I can't do something if I'm not taught how to do it. Fortunately, my family were incredibly supportive of me throughout, especially with improving social interaction and following up on projects regularly. This decreased my self-doubt immensely, helping me to finally begin boosting my academics. Charmander used flamethrower, but my naivety ultimately became my downfall shortly after. Zubat used gust. My own thought and effort was required in the personal project. Even the topic itself was meant to be my very interest. It was, kind of. Even the time and effort I put into research and decision making still seemed very half-hearted for the time being. Charmander fainted. The second Pokemon I chose was Caterpie. Now the return of in-person learning incredibly improved my mental health. Eventually, my friendships and academics began to fall back in place. I even began to implement tips my friends gave to deal with the quite noticeable negativity caused by the pandemic. Everything seemed alright. Now, Zubat used Poison Fang and Caterpie is now at 5 HP. My work ethic was still in dire need of an upgrade. The pre-mock examinations had brought nothing but disappointment due to my unknown lack of effort. A few weeks later, my work ethic had improved by 10%. I began preparation for my mock exams and my personal project was now near completion. But many flaws still remained. Caterpie was poisoned. But again, I took some subjects unknowingly lightly and was still not satisfied with the results of my mock exams. Caterpie fainted, but I couldn't pay any more attention. It was time. The last, but certainly not the least, Pokemon was Pikachu. The preparation for my board exams only began after I knew their very significance. Pikachu used tackle. Easy subjects were done first. The difficult subjects were then studied in detail for an entire month. Fortunately, I used the most effective studying method for those specific subjects. Even any lack of consistency was completely erased by external motivation. Every single resource was used. I finally gave my board exams. Pikachu used Thunderbolt. Zubat fainted. It was finally over. All those minutes of deciding a move to use were over. The pros finally outweighed the cons and brought me satisfaction, curing most of my self-doubt, stress, and anxiety. It also brought me to unimaginable levels of relief and content. Now, this event's significance has also kept me improving upon myself to this day. And if it weren't for my Pokemon, Zubat would have swiftly got me out of the game. What did I learn? Treat life as a game. Trust your choices. Keep going. You have to keep searching for help. And you can't pause this game to simply read instructions. Learn by yourself. It will lead you through the solutions as you move through the challenges you face and grant you fulfillment and fruition. Once you get to that point, ladies and gentlemen, the ending is in your hands. Thank you very much, everyone.